What is surprisingly illegal? 1. It's illegal to own more than 6 intimate toys in Texas. 5 is okay I guess, but you're on thin ice. 2. Children selling lemonade without a license. 3. In Germany it's legal to break out of prison, but not in your prison uniform because that would be stealing. 4. It's illegal to intimately pleasure a butterfly in Missouri. Do what you want with that information. 5. Pleasuring someone via your mouth is technically illegal in South Carolina, although I don't know how it's actually enforced. 6. Throughout Alabama it's illegal for a person to walk down the street with an ice cream cone in their back pocket. Back when most people got around on horseback, horse thieves would put ice cream in their pocket to lure horses away without being charged with stealing. 7. It is illegal to parachute inside St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican after a person did it. They had to create that law, specifically for him. He walked away no charge, as the law did not exist. 8. In Connecticut a pickle can't be considered a pickle, nor sold as one, unless it bounces when dropped from the height of 1 foot in the air. This state regulation was the result of devious pickle packers selling substandard pickles that obviously didn't bounce. 9. If in Western Australia, it's illegal to possess more than 50 kilograms of potatoes. Yes, potatoes. 10. In the most southern island of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, it's illegal to curse in public. 11. Paying expired parking meters that aren't your spot. 12. In China it's illegal to reincarnate without the government's permission. 13. In my country Italy it's illegal to not have at least one bidet installed per home. 14. Sleeping in your car. 15. In the landlocked state of Nebraska it is illegal to go whaling. 16. In several states it's illegal to fish from horseback. Just Google stupid fishing laws, there are lots of them. 17. Credit card fees are illegal in many states, but that doesn't stop the gas stations. They get around this by offering a cash discount. 18. Alarming the Queen. Section 49 of the Criminal Code of Canada, sentence of up to 14 years in prison. 19. In New York it's illegal to run a race barefoot and you need permit to be homeless. 20. It is forbidden to own a single guinea pig in Switzerland. You must have 2. 21. In the US it's illegal to laminate your social security card. What is an unspoken, universal rule all males know? 1. The wide step. Y'all know what I mean, it's like pulling a fruit roll-up off of the plastic. 2. When you reach a certain age, you must groan when either sitting or standing up even if there is absolutely no pain whatsoever. 3. The nod. Down means, I acknowledge your presence non-threateningly and am moving on, good day. Up is either oh hey what's up to a friend or, you need something from me or are trying to tell me something, to a stranger. 4. When leaving you must smack your pockets to make sure everything is there, triple pat, phone, keys, wallet. 5. When there's a choice between urinals, use the one that minimizes the chances of neighboring another occupied urinal. 6. Every time you grab the tongs click them twice to make sure they work. I've had tongs fall apart during test clicks. There's no telling the absolute disaster it would have caused if it had fallen apart outside of a test click. 7. Never turn your homie into a clown, just to make a girl laugh, that just sucks. 8. If anything is floating in the toilet when you pee it instantly becomes a target. Toilet art must be erased. 9. You must stand by your bro while he's grilling, and make comments about the level of awesome it's going to be. Splendiferous grill lines my man. 10. We must feel the pain of our fellow men who we see being hit in the balls. 11. You must let out a sigh of satisfaction when sitting down on a lawn chair. And there must be someone near to ask you to do something the moment you are done with your sigh. 12. Anytime you're strapped down a load you must slap it and say, that ain't going nowhere, trust me just do it or else. 13. Anytime you use a stud finder, you must first use it on yourself and say found one. 14. If you with your homie and his crush rolls up, you aren't the funny one. 15. If the hood of a car is open you must stand in a circle around it. 16. There's a reason why cowboys wear jeans in the desert. Protect your nuts at all costs. 17. If you borrow a car, bring it back with more gas than you started with. 18. Always bring the groceries into the house in one trip. There are no exceptions. Mama didn't raise no two-trip bitch. 19. You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger and you don't mess around with Jim. 20. Cool rocks you find must be evaluated on their ability to be skipped and regardless you must chuck them into lakes when possible. 21. Whenever your wife or significant other tries to buy something you could make but never will, always tell them to not buy it because you can make that same thing at home way cheaper. 22. Don't date a bro's ex-girlfriend. Hiring managers, what is the biggest red flag on a resume? 1. I interviewed an Indian guy, who had surfing the internet and shooting pistols as his hobbies. I wanted to hire him on the spot to be our wild card. 2. People keep saying gaps in work history. But honestly guys, make sure you inquire about it before just writing someone off. I had a guy who had a year or two gap in his resume. Most people would just write this dude as, well obviously there's something wrong with him. Well, there was. The dude was diagnosed with brain cancer and had to go through intensive treatment. He lived but came out the other end jobless. Couldn't find work afterwards because of the gap. I could tell he was a smart dude who just had a bad hand of cards. He was hired and he's honestly worked out great and still works at that company. 3. Listing every single accomplishment from high school or middle school. When you've been out of high school for 10 plus years. Had a guy list every part he got in a musical. Sports he played, with scores. Clubs he was a part of. All of these dated from at least elementary school on. The man was 50 plus. The job had nothing to do with any of these items. 4. I once had a guy submit a resume, saying that he could not work with women or speak to any woman due to religious reasons. I'm all for being tolerant of other people's beliefs, but this was for a customer service job. If you can't interact with women at all, then maybe this wasn't the kind of job he should have been applying for. 5. A watermark of their face on each page of a resume. 6. I've seen someone put their certificate of baptism under certificates and awards. 7. Once got a resume that listed under his awards section, champion and master of the chug and tug, at some dumbass ASU fraternity whose name I can't remember. I'm still not 100% certain what the fuck that is, but I know I didn't want it. 8. A very unprofessional email is definitely one. You see some insane emails. I knew someone who got an email address that had Big Daddy in it.
What is something that instantly destroyed the crush you had on someone? 1. When we were young, I gave her a Valentine's card. She smiled while looking into my eyes, ripped the card without opening it, and walked away while tossing it in the trash. It hurt terribly, but it snapped me out of that hypnotic trance. I learned personality is everything and it's best to move on quickly. 2. She threw the popcorn on the floor as we got up to leave the theater, and not like dropped the bag, like flipped it and gave it a good shake for good measure. It's their job to clean up after people, a thing people have said to me when they make cleaning staff clean up something they would have put in the garbage themselves if they weren't assholes. 3. I was head over heels for him and only got to have fleeting moments together that never really lasted long. In 6th grade, we finally had a class together and I got to be his seatmate. I was over the moon for all about 5 minutes. He just kept talking and talking and talking. When I'd finally get a word in edgewise, he'd keep one-upping anything I brought up. 4. A guy I had a crush on was driving me home from a party, and as we were driving, I saw a bunny rabbit about to cross the road, and I told him to slow down. He didn't stop or even slow down. He hit the bunny. I never talked to him again after that. There were no cars by us. We live in a slow neighborhood. 5. My boyfriend at the time, ex now Obvi, and I were walking home and happened to pass by a homeless man holding a sign towards the road. For some reason, despite the fact that the homeless dude never even looked at us, he decided to start talking about how much he wanted to punch him. Broke up with him immediately afterward. 6. This one was my fault, so we got together and she farted in my bed while lying down. I remember it smelled like meatloaf anyway. I took that as permission to fart in front of her, not remembering how foul my own farts are. She wanted to stop seeing me after she smelled a few of my farts. 7. They shared their flat earth beliefs.
It's the best thing to say if you walk in on your partner cheating on you. 1. A friend of mine who's still single to this day told a story all the time about something that happened to him once. He was dating this girl for almost 2 years, been to her place and spent nights with her. No sign of anyone else, no red flags, nothing. Then one day they are eating at a restaurant/bar and this big tall dude comes in and literally pulls him out of his chair by his shirt and slams him to the ground without a word. He has a concealed carry and always has something on him. He jumped up, drew his weapon and told the guy to back off. The other guy pulled a weapon, and then started to say something about him out with his woman. He got him to calm down enough to talk, and it turns out he was military, deployed overseas the last 2 years, and she removed all trace of him from her apartment while he was gone to find another relationship. But she was still in contact with him the whole time and saying she was waiting for him to come back. She broke up with the both of them on the spot and marched out like it was their fault. They both went to the bar and bought each other drinks for the next hour and are still friends to this day. Thankfully nobody got hurt. The cops did get called. When they got there they explained the whole thing. It was a big misunderstanding. Neither wanted to press charges. Both had to show their carry permit since the bar staff called the cops because they had guns, and they went back to the bar and had a laugh about it. I didn't believe him first time he told me this. Then I met the other guy and heard it from witnesses that were in the bar. The crazy girl that caused all of this ended up with another guy in a matter of days.